So we're in part 5 of the redo, and we'll look at how to initialize our objects correctly. So what we did in the previous parts was calling new to the class we want to instantiate, and then attributing manually the values we want to the instance variables. So let's see what happens if we simply call C increment right now. Let's just do it, command P. Okay, so plus was sent to nil. So this means that count by default, which we haven't initialized in any way, will have value nil, which is faro that shows it for us. This is not the most useful default value. And imagine we could put 0. Let's write a test that would cover this case. So we won't need, let's rename it first, test initialize. We won't need those 2 lines. And we want right after creation that the count instant variable is equal to 0. Let's save this. Okay. And now if we initialize it, let's run the test. It fails because we haven't changed anything and the default value is still nil. So in order to change it, we have to define an initialize method. This method is called at the creation of any object. So good practice is to call the superclasses initialization methods and then implement the behavior we want it to have. So count is equal to 0. Okay, save this. The test method has been detected. Let's run it. And it's working, so it's great. We have a default behavior of putting the instance variable count to 0. Now imagine we want to have a default a value of 5 at creation. So we could change the initialize method, but we would like to keep this one as the default one. But we can write a class method that would handle this for us. So let's write the test. So let's write the test starting at 5. We'll call, instead of new, we'll call starting at 5. So we want to assert that the count will be equal to 5. Okay, let's save this. The method isn't detected, but it is normal. Let's run it. Okay, instance of counter class did not understand starting at. So we have to implement the class method starting at in the counter. So in order to implement the class method, you go to the class you want. Instance side, that's where we're in right now. Let's go to class side and implement starting at an integer. Okay, and we want to return self new count an integer. So this means a new counter will be created and the instance variable will be the integer we provide. So let's save this, and now if we run our tests, they are all green. Cool. So let's write a final test that handles most of our functions. So we'll call it test starting at 5 increment. So we'll still start at 5, but we'll just add an increment step right there and then call count on the incremented counter. So this should be 5 incremented, so 6. Let's see. If we run all our tests, the 6 ran and 6 passed. So this is a great time to commit your changes. So we'll go to the iceberg working copy and press commit and write so initialization methods tested. And let's commit that. So we learn how to initialize correctly your objects with a default behavior and provide class methods to have more examples or working instances of a class you want.